Today we have a very special researcher with us, Ms. Anshumitra Ball from the Louisiana State University, who will be talking on one of the most talked about research topics of this decade, superconductivity.
I will be talking about superconductivity and hence start with the theory of superconductivity, the BCS theory, and we'll take you to some deviation from the BCS theory. So we'll introduce you to conventional and unconventional superconductivity, and then we'll talk about quantum tunneling and how it is used in junctions in superconductors. And then I will go on to my research in superconducting junctions. So they have electron-electron interaction between them and electron-lattice interaction. The overlap of these two bands occur, the valence and the conduction band, and as a result, a small amount of energy given to an electron can just lead to the electron to go from the valence to the conduction band. When a superconductor is cooled below Tc and a magnetic field is applied in the superconductor, you will see that the magnetic field is expelled from this superconductor. Microscopes enable to probe matter on a subatomic scale and which have an effect on the beams of the charged particles. And you can form a Cooper pair at very large distances of atoms. So you have like 100 or 1000 atoms in between them and you can form a Cooper pair. But to destroy this interaction need to be broken fully. So the network need to be broken fully in order to have resistance. So they have no resistance in superconductivity after some temperature. So all the Cooper pairs occupy the same BCS ground state. Application of quantum tunneling is scanning tunneling microscope, which shows you the position of atoms in a lattice. And if an electron is crossing from this superconductor to the right hand side superconductor, you get a super current in this junction without applying any voltage. So what's the solution to get superconductivity at room temperature? So you look at unconventional superconductors. So when you have S equal to 0, you call the state as singlet and you have S wave and D wave symmetry. But when you have S equal to 1, you have the P wave and spin triplet superconductor, and you have the P wave and F wave symmetry. The Fermi surface actually gives you information about the gap function. So I will show you that the Fermi surface is not spherical, which we thought for a conventional superconductor, which we expect for a conventional superconductor. So A daggers are the creation operator for an electron. So if you use A dagger, it means that you are creating an electron at lattice side. And if you are using A, that means that you are annihilating an electron. Solving this matrix or diagonalizing this matrix, you will find the eigenvalues, and from that you can have the Fermi surface of strontium ruthenate. So an electron project, like if incidented from the left hand side, how it will behave in the superconductor due to imbalance of pair tunneling in the superconductor. So there is again an imbalance of the pair tunneling of Cooper pair from in and out of this superconductor graph. There is a change of the phase of the supercurrent near the phi equal to 0 position. So the supercurrent phase is simply changed at phi equal to 0. Theoretical model, I introduce an unconventional superconductor, how the current or the AC current changes in the non-Hermitian Josephson junctions.
Does it physically mean the term non-hermeticity? You showed one plot where you compared the G value or the conductance. So if G value is 2, so the conductance is 2. Their Cooper pair is being formed. But when you have this non-Hermitian or non-Hermitian case, the energy or the gap is less than 1.
No, the conductance is 2. It's already 2, but just the region where it is 2, like the subgap and the supragap region, it just shifts due to the non-hermeticity parameters. So as you can see, if I can share the screen again. Yes. So here, as you can see, the peak where it happens, like where the peak is at E equal to delta, like where the energy is equal to the gap function. But in the non-Hermitian case, this peak just shifts, and this peak is like where the peak will happen in E by delta axis. It depends upon the non-Hermitian parameters. So it mainly, the peak happens at E equal to delta square root of 1 minus psi. So non-hermiticity in this NIS junction actually just resurfaces, like rescales the gap. The gap in the subgap and the supragap region behaves like the conductance behaves similarly, but it just rescales the peak where it happens. In the NIS or SIS junction, how this non-hermiticity in a junction is introduced is like you have a superconducting bath over it, and it has like it has the inflow and the outflow of the Cooper pairs through it is not constant. So the particle density in this superconductor is not constant. It's always changing, and
Okay.
that is due to this non-Hermitian parameter. So this is a system, but the total system would be having a superconducting bath over it to like physically realize it. Was really a good experience with you guys. You supported and also prepared me, and it was really a interesting session. So yeah, and I think if anyone wants to contact me, I will be happy to help, or I really like feedback. So just and really I want some like constructive criticism.
Researcher on web. For the last 4 months, we have been hosting these webinars and conducting these webinars and posting blogs as well, so that you as a science enthusiast can get to know it and in a way bring this global research closer and more approachable to each one of you.